Howdy, y'all. It's Winter, LeftyWinterr. You may know me as on other social media pages. This is my podcast, Winter Speaks, that I started to talk about the things I care about, but in a podcast form, and to stream and such. And today we are just going to go over the exciting primaries happening on Tuesday. Many states are having primaries on August 4th, and I thought we'd go over all of them and go over all the candidates that I'm supporting, as it is a big election day with 5 states, um, and these primaries could ultimately tell us where the Democratic Party is going and whether we're moving in a progressive direction or not. It can tell us all sorts of different things as well. The main races are in Michigan, which I'll go over. But I'm going to start with Virginia. In Virginia, I am supporting 2 candidates in Virginia's 1st district. I'm supporting a guy named Salam Badi. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I may mispronounce some names in my endorsements, so forgive me. And then the second gal that I'm supporting in the district is Erica Kopp. They're both running for Virginia's 1st, and the reason why I'm endorsing 2 is because sometimes I have issues choosing, and that's okay. They're both pretty progressive. And then in Virginia's 2nd district, I am supporting Nyla Divanath. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And then in Virginia's 8th district, I am supporting Adam Donegan and Mo Seifenden. Seifdine. I am so sorry I'm butchering your last name. But again, 2 candidates in Virginia's 8th district. I have trouble choosing candidates sometimes, so either of those candidates I am supporting. And then, of course, in Kansas, who is also having primaries on the 4th, they currently have a Democrat governor, and I'd like to keep Kansas under a Democratic governor. And the current governor is term limited, and she is supporting a guy named Ethan Corson, who I am also supporting. I automatically endorsed him because she's supporting him. And then in the 1st district in Kansas, Colin McRoberts is running for the 1st district. And then in Kansas 3rd district, which I believe is currently held by a Democrat, Sarah Prue is running there against the Democratic incumbent, and she put out a statement on her website that said that she's running because she's tired of her representative taking APAC money, and so she's running a very anti-APAC campaign and against the Gaza genocide, and I think it's very brave of her. And then in Kansas 4th district, Chris Carmichael is running in the 4th district. Sorry, last name again, butchered it. My bad. And then for Senate, I am supporting Eric Murray in Kansas, who's running for Senate. I believe that the Kansas Senate race is considered a sleeper state because they currently have a Democrat governor, which could mean maybe, possibly, it could flip blue in November. And then, of course, in Michigan, we have the top races that people are going to be watching the most, which is Abdullah Syed. And then I am supporting Jocelyn Benson for governor. And then I am supporting Eli Savitz. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Again, I'm sorry. For attorney general. And then in Michigan's 1st district, I'm supporting Kyle Bloomquist. For Michigan's 1st district, Democratic Socialist, very progressive. And then Diab Harris in Michigan's 4th district, William Lawrence, who campaigned with Abdul and Bernie, and also AOC was also at the rally. I'm supporting him in the 7th district. And then in the 11th district, Aisha Farkoy, I think is how you pronounce her last name, is running in Michigan's 11th district, which is currently held by Haley Stevens, by the way, and she's a Democratic Socialist as well. And then, of course, I'm supporting Queen Rashida Tlaib for re-election. Let's go, Queen. And then in the 13th district, I'm supporting Donovan McKinney In the 13th district, very progressive. I believe he's a Democratic Socialist, if I'm not mistaken. I could be incorrect there. And then in Missouri, of course, we need to reelect Cori Bush and beat Wesley Bell, AIPAC Secor. And then uh, teacher Joanne Van Dras in Missouri's 2nd district, and then Bethany Mann in Missouri's 3rd district, and then Democratic Socialist Hartzell Gray, also in Missouri. And then in Washington State, I'm supporting Hunter Gordon in Washington's 1st district. And then former veteran Thomas Scheel in Washington's 2nd district. I'm also, of course, supporting Brent Hendrick in Washington's 3rd district. I want Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez out of there. She's just a Republican with a D next to her name. And then, of course, I support Pramila Jayapal in Washington's 7th district for re-election. And then this race is a little bit more contentious, especially with other leftists and socialists online. In the 9th district of Washington, I'm supporting Melissa Chaudhry because she's running as a Democrat. I don't typically support third-party candidates. Some people are supporting a woman named Swant, and I do not support third-party runs, especially in these states. I support independent candidates in red states only. I don't want third-party votes to pull from the progressive candidate running. She won more than 90,000 votes in 2024, and so she's running again. And she could have a possibility of winning this time. And she's running against Adam Smith, and so I'd like not to pull votes from her. She's most likely to win over Swant, and so I'm asking for folks to vote for her over the third-party candidate running in the 9th district. And so those are some of the races I am supporting on August 4th. Let me know who you're supporting. If you're supporting different people, that's absolutely okay. And then on Wednesday, we'll go over the results and see what Democrats chose and the decisions that Democrats chose. These races could end up deciding, or not deciding, but tell a story about where the Democratic Party is at and the progressive movement going forward. And it is exciting, exhilarating. So make sure you get out there and phone bank and canvass and donate if you can. If you can't do either of those things, amplifying candidates on social media is also very, very important and valid. And not everybody can support them financially or do phone banking or canvassing for candidates. But get out there and support the candidates that you support. It's really important. A lot is at stake, and we can prove a lot of people wrong in November, and that's what I'm looking forward to. So, like I said, get out there and vote. If you haven't already, vote early, if you can, or vote on election day by August 4th in these states. At the same time, later next week, Tennessee will also be having elections, and I will be putting out another episode about Tennessee. Hawaii is also having elections this week. However, there aren't really any candidates in Hawaii that I'm supporting, so I'm just leaving Hawaii alone. I'm not endorsing anybody, which is fine. So, yeah. Who are you supporting for election on August 4th? I'm curious. Drop a comment below, or if you're on YouTube, or let me know on my Twitter page at Winter Speaks Pod on Twitter. As far as the bigger races, I think we're going to definitely see Abdul Isayed in Michigan's Senate race win big against Haley Stevens. And what I'm looking forward to in that race is try to dismiss Abdul Isayed's win if he wins by bigger margins than Slotkin did in 2024. However, it goes to show that progressives win by more um, votes because they're in line with the Democrat base. And in Michigan, the base voted for Bernie back in 2016, and people forget about that. So, um, let's go Abdul. I'm rooting for him big. If you listen to this podcast thus far, I want to thank you. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at LeftyWinterr and my podcast account at Winter Speaks Pod on Twitter. And follow me to keep up with the election results on Tuesday. Um, we'll have lots of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're gonna win big. So I will see you all on Wednesday to talk about the results.